I have good news and bad news, my boss Chester said. If there is a more butthole-clenching phrase said at a struggling company during a sudden all-hands meeting, I don't know what it is. Thing was, Chester didn't need to say a single syllable. His slouched shoulders, pale face, and hangdog expression told us the entire story. The company was going under, was an app primarily focused on finding local farmer markets, something the world was clamoring for. It could have been if Chester hadn't started tinkering. Things went south when Chester insisted on including an AI tool in the app. He said it would give us an edge on FRM Marketing, our rival. He kept repeating to us that this was the wave of the future. In the nicest ways possible, we tried to tell him how stupid this idea was. AI was still too new and unreliable. The app would lose all value if the AI screwed up and told people they could buy pumpkins in July at a market that didn't exist. He wouldn't budge. Worse, the company we hired had a subpar product. Jailbreaking the AI was too easy. Asking a couple of specific, open-ended questions jumbled its brain. Instead of telling us where local farmers' markets were located, it gave us instructions on how to build a bomb with carrot sticks of dynamite. As we stared at his sullen face, we understood that the wave of the future broke on What a Disaster Beach, despite not needing to. Chester still went ahead and told us just how screwed we were. It wasn't pretty. His dumb mistakes had blown up the company. Based on what he laid out, those mistakes fell squarely in the "oh Jesus, did I really just bone my friend's dad?" area of mistake land. You can't come back from that. For the record, I've never done that. Not that there weren't a few. Well, never mind. I'm getting off track. The point was, the company was done. Kaput. Our last paychecks would go out this week, and they'd be prorated for only the days we worked this month. Translation: less money. Wasn't sure if that was legal, but there wouldn't even be a company to sue as of 10 o'clock this morning. While I maintained a cool girl aesthetic, I was Chernobyling inside. I could already barely afford my crappy apartment now. A small last paycheck and no job prospects were catastrophic. As I packed up my cubicle, I grabbed anything that wasn't nailed down. You can judge, but have you seen the price of toilet paper recently? I did what I always did in times of despair, or triumph, joy, confusion, etc. I called my best friend, Alice. Ace, she hated her name, always had a sympathetic ear and gave historically terrible advice. I love her, but she's more of a free spirit. Finding inspiration everywhere, not dwelling too much on the future. Living in the moment. Well, I worked for a farmer's market app. I put contact paper down on my shelves when I move into a new apartment. I drop a pin to Ace whenever I go on a first date. Long story short, if Ace suggested it, I did the opposite. That place sucked, Ace said, chomping on a croissant while on the phone. Chester was weird and he would have killed 10 farmers to get a date with you. I laughed. I needed that. If he kills all the farmers, what becomes of their markets? Maybe he can go work for one. Selling artisanal soap or handmade turquoise jewelry. Or like fedoras. He struck me as a guy with a lot of fedoras lying around. I laughed again. I'm so screwed. Doll, you just got fired. You can say fucked. No, I can't. You know that. This the whole, what if my dead grandma heard me say that, thing again. It's ingrained in me at this point. I sighed. What am I going to do? My rent is due in a week. I'll have enough to cover, but nothing left over. Oh my God. I got it. Ace yelled. I know how you can make great money super quick. No big commitments, either. Don't say OnlyFans, I said, moving my head into my hands. Though, would that be so bad? She giggled, God no. You got the goods, but not the personality to be a big earner. They like bubbly or, if the guys are rich, a dom attitude. Plus, you take horrid photos. You missed the day when every girl learned how to pose for a picture, she said, her mouth full of croissant. Maybe you could be a dom. Ace, focus. This great money-making idea is. Be a topless maid with me. I didn't respond right away because I went into a fugue state. The only sounds I heard were Ace chomping on French baked goods and my blood rushing to my cheeks. I hadn't even removed my top yet, and I was already blushing. Grandma would be so angry. Did you stroke out? Topless maid? There were supposed to be more words, but my brain fogged like a coastal city. I just made word-adjacent noises. I didn't tell you about it. No, I yelled into my phone. When the heck did you start that? 3 weeks ago. It's part of my rotation of quasi-sex work-related jobs. I'm cleaning up. Literally, I deadpanned. She mocked. But, seriously. It's the easiest money I've ever made. Some dude pays you $200 to clean 2 of their rooms for 2 hours. You don't even have to do a decent cleaning job, either. I don't. I didn't even know this was a thing. Who hires topless maids? Single dads, older guys, some creepers, she listed off. They just want to watch some young thing bounce around and sweep up. I think it's trad wife shit or something. I dunno, and I don't care because these guys pony up a lot. This can't be safe. Nothing about it sounds safe. Are you safe? I am. The company gives you a bracelet that calls the cops in case something bad happens. Plus, they send a big, burly guy to keep watch from the street. Ours is Brendan. He's a dork and sweet, but doesn't look it. Still. I had doubts, too, but it's on the up and up. I work with this girl and, bro, she pulls down $15K a month from this shit. $15K? Seriously? As a heart attack. Plus, the guys tip generously. Do they ever expect extras? I whispered the last word as if someone respectable driving past might hear me and be aghast. I mean, yeah. Some do. I just say no. If they insist, threaten to hit the button on your bracelet. If that doesn't work, we call in Brendan. So far, no one has done anything but look and compliment. You should do it. You've got the body for it, and your apartment is always neat. What do you have to lose? Try it once with me this weekend. I can get you hired on. I'm pretty sure my boss wants to fuck me. Ace, really? I said, disgusted. He gives me the eyes, she said, and I knew she was waggling her immaculate eyebrows on the other end of the call. But, seriously. Come on. Just until you get on your feet with a real job. I wanted to laugh and say, of course not. I wanted to pretend I was above that line of work. I wanted to believe another decent job was right around the corner. I wanted to believe these things, but I also didn't want to live in my car. I always avoided Ace's advice, and for good reason. She's even agreed with me on that train of thought. But then I remembered where she was versus where I was. She was surviving comfortably in one of the most expensive cities in the country. I was wondering how I could arrange my belongings in my car to achieve good feng shui. Screw it, I said. Let's do it. Oh my god, for real? For real. She squealed. I'll set up a meeting with my boss today. Wear something slutty but not too slutty. Think cocktail slutty. Cocktail slutty? Classy but shows off all the goods in a way where, if the waiter gave you the eyes, you'd fuck them in the walk-in freezer. Cheese and rice. Ace. For the record, I've never done that either. 2 days later, I met with Mitch, the boss at Dirty Dusters. My interview consisted of him looking me over, nodding, and saying, "Yeah, you'll do well here." I filled out the required paperwork, reviewed the safety procedures, and was given my uniform, a t-shirt with a sexy maid silhouette and the words "Dirty Dusters, we reach all the hard spots" in sparkly script. Ace was thrilled and gave me the rundown. Things to avoid. Things to do. It mostly boiled down to being friendly, doing some cleaning, and baring your chest. Simple enough. I was nervous, but Ace assured me that, after 5 minutes, you forget you're topless. It's like people on reality shows. A day in and you forget there are cameras everywhere. She had a point, but my brain focused on the thought that maybe some of these guys have cameras all over. I brought it up to Ace. She looked at me, took a sip from her iced coffee, and jostled it. Well, all our nudes will be leaked at some point. Mitch had booked a job for Saturday evening. Some geezer in an empty mansion wants some jiggles on his way out. He paid up front double what we quoted. Just wants to see titties one more time before he kicks the bucket. Kinda romantic, right? We got to the house near sunset. It was in the foothills and, even then, off the beaten path. The driveway was nearly a mile from the road and lined with beautiful blooming jacaranda. Fallen purple flowers covered the entire driveway. It smelled like a perfume factory. You felt the house before you saw it. The aura was so powerful that it poked through those tree branches and struck at your soul. The pull of old money. I felt out of sorts. I've been around well-off people before, been in houses that I'd kill to live in, but nothing moved me like this. It was like being struck dumb by a painting in a museum. You froze, taking in every detail, and let the emotions, vibes, and sensations wash over you. Dramatic, I know, but the whole place was freaking wild. Ace looked at the house and whistled. Fuck, this is nice. Way nicer than my place. You live in a studio apartment. A shitty one at that. This, though? This is some Spanish Downton Abbey shit. Think he has manservants? If he did, I don't think he would have hired us. Ace chomped loudly on her gum and laughed. True. If he liked dudes, this place would be wall-to-wall with balls 24/7. Guys are easy that way. The house took my breath away. When you live on the bleeding edge of poverty, seeing anything this valuable is a grim reminder of where you're coming from and how far you are from your dreams. A cruel hope. I was staring at a hacienda-style colossus that didn't look constructed as much as it looked conjured from a magician. Violently pretty red bougainvillea climbed the white stucco walls, looking like floral veins bleeding everywhere. A yawning archway opened into an elegant two-tiered courtyard stuffed full of green plants. Above the archway, several balconies were adorned with wrought iron sides. It looks like a face, Ace said, pointing. The balconies are the eyes and the arch is the mouth. Does that mean we're getting swallowed? Don't be gross, freak, Ace mocked. The clanking of another car came puttering up the drive. Crammed behind the wheel of a Mini Cooper was our bodyguard, Brendan. The minuscule car almost jumped off the ground as he exited. Brendan looked the part. Tall, bulky, bald, and covered in tattoos. Who owns this place, Willy Wonka? Fuck, bruh, people got too much money. Brendan, this is my bestie and newest dirty duster, Beth. Protect her at all costs. Brendan nodded. Ace blew him a kiss, and I gave him a weird half-wave. He posted up in the courtyard and made himself noticeable to anyone. He pulled out a vape and took an aggressive hit. As he blew out a plume of smoke that made his head disappear, Ace knocked on the door. I don't know who I expected to open the door. If TV and movies had been true, a stuffy personal valet would have answered and given us a courtesy bow before whisking us into the house. A real Mr. Jeeves kinda moment. That's not what we got. Instead, the heavy wooden door unlatched from the inside and swung open. There wasn't anyone standing there. I looked at Ace, and she nodded up. The setting sun reflecting off a camera lens. We were being watched. I mean, that's what we're hired to do, but if there were cameras here, then there were cameras everywhere. What the hell? Ace said, Walking inside and plucking a handwritten note off the wall, I entered behind her and, as soon as my butt cleared the door, it swung closed. I let out a little yelp and damn near jumped out of my sparkly shirt. As I did, my feet became tangled, and I went but over tea kettle and crashed to the ground. "Control yourself, girl," Ace laughed. She reached down and helped me to my feet. "What does it say?" Ace cleared her throat and put on a rich man's voice. "Ladies, thank you for agreeing to this work. I understand it may seem silly or even perverted for a man of my age to use your services, but I assure you, I am neither. Feel free to change in the nearby bedroom and follow the illuminated sconces to the first room. Sorry about the front door. It slams closed." "It doesn't say that." She held the note up. She wasn't lying. He should have put this note on the front door. "Come on, let's get ready." We entered the closest bedroom and stripped down. I looked over and Ace was slathering glitter across the top of her chest. She offered it to me, and I took it. In for a penny. What the hell kind of freaky picture is this? The painting was of a faceless man holding a lantern over an open grave. Dozens of fingers from unseen people inside the grave clutched against the dirt. At least, I thought they were fingers. They had nails but one too many knuckles. Fingers bent at impossible angles. Even the faceless man's hands looked incomplete. It was like the artist had only heard about fingers from myths and legends. That's concerning, right? The janky way they painted those fingers or the figure hiding in the background. Ace walked up to the painting and pointed at the section right above the lantern's handle. "In the dark, see it?" If she hadn't pointed it out, I never would have noticed. But, among the dark background was the faint blue outline of a man. Hiding. Watching. My inner alarms blared. Maybe we should go. This is odd. I've glittered the girls already. "We have Brendan outside," she said, snapping the emergency bracelet on her wrist, "and we have an eye in the sky. We're gonna be okay. This painting is fucking strange." I agree. But rich people can afford to buy weird, expensive art. That doesn't mean we're in danger. You think I'd stick around here if I thought I was in danger? I'm just jittery. Not shocking. This is something way outside your comfort zone. It's natural. Especially for someone like you. Someone like me? She put her hand on her hip and cocked her head. "Do I really need to get into this? You don't even swear and you're about to show some random old guy your boobs. I don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out where this energy is coming from." "Holmes," I said. With a L. She threw up her middle finger. Couldn't blame her. I even found that obnoxious. I exhaled and recentered myself. Ace was right. I was nervous. I was outside my comfort zone. I am a tightly wound bundle of nerves. We had cover. We were fine. "Look, if you're feeling unsure, it's no problem if you want to split. I can handle this solo. If every room is this spotless, I'm gonna do more dancing than cleaning. Besides, I think Brendan wouldn't mind the company. He loves to talk about something called Warhammer." No. "I'm good," I said, nervously smoothing out my maid's tutu. Just because a few odd things occurred doesn't mean they're related. Causation does not equal correlation, right? Ace blew a huge pink bubble and let it pop. "You need more glitter on your tits." We followed the lit sconces down a long hallway. They would ignite as we approached and extinguish as we passed. It felt very theme park-ish. Disney World by way of Edgar Allan Poe. The lights stopped at the first room. Another note was waiting. Ace grabbed it. "I may enter the room at some point to retrieve some documents. Please do not be alarmed by my presence. I will leave you to your work. Don't be alarmed by my presence." Fancy way of saying respect me, bitches. I say it to people all the time. I'm aware. I've gone out drinking with you. Remember when you threatened to beat up that guy at Checkpoint Charlie's? He's lucky his friends held him back. I would have rocked his shit. My Muay Thai classes aren't just for photos. To be fair, you do take a lot of photos at Muay Thai. Yeah, because I look hot as shit, she said with a wink. She opened the door, and the smell of ancient books flooded out. My smile was so wide, it made my face hurt. Every inch of wall space, from floor to ceiling, was filled with bookshelves. The room was lit by dozens of blazing candles and a lit fireplace. The books were leather-bound tomes with names I'd never heard of before. Most were in a language I'd never seen. Incredible, I said, running my fingers along the spines. Think he's read them all? No. An ever-growing, to-read pile is what prompts most people to buy shelves in the first place. I pulled one down. The title was written in what can best be described as an elegant chicken scratch. I opened the book and breathed in the scent. I felt my heart flutter. For the first time since I took this job, I felt joy. Interesting book you have chosen. We both froze. The voice came from somewhere in the room. Ace and I scanned, but didn't see another person hiding in the shadows. I looked to the ceiling but failed to find the telltale reflection of a camera lens. Do you recognize the language of that book? I looked down at the cover. It looked foreign to this planet. I traced the words with my finger and tried to sound them out. The words tripped and fell out of my mouth. I thought of the Voynich manuscript. Was this another one of those? I don't. Janet? How about you? I said, staring at Ace. Dirty Dusters preferred that we use fake names with all clients. Not an uncommon practice in the stripper or restaurant spaces. Ace was Janet today. I was Cindy. Neither name fit our personalities, but I think that was the point. Nope. I'm just here to clean and jiggle. Please clean, Janet. You have a natural ability for it. I could tell that Ace took offense to that, but she was on the job. Tips mattered. She smiled, did a mocking little jump that set her moving, and started dusting the nearest shelf. We locked eyes, and I could see the red on her face. Nobody liked being talked down to, let alone for a paycheck. I gave her a subtle nod. She winked back. Conversations in facial tics. We were experts at it. Open the book, the voice said. It was at that moment that what felt off about this entire conversation clicked. This voice wasn't that of an old man. Tell me what you see. Are you the client? I work with the client. He likes to watch but rarely speaks, the voice said. Now, open the book. Tell me what you see. I randomly opened to a page somewhere in the middle. More elegant chicken scratch filled the right side. Even the punctuation was radically different from ours. What really caught my eye was the artwork on the left side. It was an etching of a box hovering above 10 open holes in the ground. Extending from the box were 10 elongated arms, almost human-like, but there were 2 elbow joints. Each disappeared into a corresponding hole. Some arms were red, some yellow, and a few were green. The style was like the piece we'd seen earlier. Just unsettling. I hated it. Do you like the artwork? The client created it. Why? Someone asked him to. Who? His muse, of course. You could hear the smirk in his voice. Ace stopped dancing and came over to get a glance at the art. Her face couldn't hide her repulsion. She leaned in close and mumbled, "Rich people love ugly shit, huh?" I stifled a laugh by keeping my look stern. I glanced down at the artwork again and noticed a title. But these letters were as unreadable as the rest of the book. That said, they were recognizable. They looked like a mix of English and Cyrillic. Where did he get these books? I cannot say, the voice responded. Perhaps we can discuss after. We're not supposed to hang out after, Ace said. It was part of the agreement. Agreements are funny things. They hide so much in plain sight. Ours were pretty noticeable, Ace said. She spun around, looking to spot a speaker or a person hiding. One thing Dirty Dusters doesn't like is creepy men getting ideas about their role here. You watch, we clean, you pay, we leave. That's it. We stay. You pay. If not, we can leave now. No. Forgive me. Please stay. Finish the room. I locked eyes with Ace. Communication with glances. Should we leave? I asked with a raised eyebrow. She subtly touched her wrist, but didn't press the button. It was a reminder. We're good. For now, I put the book back and scanned around the room. It felt off. As I dusted, I took a look at all the book titles. They were all in the Elegant Chicken Scratch. In fact, there wasn't a single English language book here. Or any other known language, for that matter. PSS, Ace said, wiping down a side table near the fireplace. She nodded for me to slide over there. Look at that leather recliner. It was near the fireplace. At first blush, it seemed normal. Then I noticed there were 6 legs. The 4 normal ones and a 5th and 6th in the front. They were jutting out at odd angles. What the heck? Touch it. I ran my hand across the arm and yanked it back. It looked like leather. It smelled like leather. But when my hand touched the fabric, it didn't feel like leather. It felt like public toilet paper towels. I whispered, "What's that made from?" Who knows? The closer I look at everything in here, the more fucked up it is. Check out that shelf. The wood dips in the middle. I was confused. How are the books still straight? With these weird fuckers, Ace whispered, "I'm guessing black magic." I stifled a laugh. My attention moved from the wooden shelf to the candles around the room. I watched them flicker. Then I clocked it. There was a pattern. I nudged Ace. Watch the flame. It's on a loop. She did. She dropped her duster from shock. What the fuck is this place? I pulled myself from my tutu's waistband. I'm going to call Brendan. Ladies, is there a problem with the accommodation? My client is worried you are not moving enough. He paid to see you move. Can we meet him? Ace asked. He does not like to meet the help. Ace cocked her head. The help? Forgive me, the voice said. I should have said entertainers. I did not mean to insult you. My client is very sick and cannot meet with people. As Ace argued with the voice, I tried dialing out to Brendan. Despite showing full bars, my phone's network would not connect. I hung up and tried 6 more times. Each time ending in an unconnected call. Texts also died in my palm. Just errors, phone won't call out, I said to Ace. I didn't whisper. Why won't my phone call out? Ace tried, but the result was the same. Maybe we're in a bad spot in the house. We are in the hills, too. Something's wrong, I said, running my hand through my hair. As I did, I saw the bracelet with the emergency button sparkling in the candlelight. I pressed the button and waited. Nothing happened. I did it again. Still nothing. What happens when you press the bracelet button? A little green light glows, and it calls out for help. Why? I held up my wrist and pressed the button in front of Ace's face. No little green light. Her hands went to her bracelet, and she hit the button. Same result, fuck. Mitch charged them. Did they break? Ladies, you seem distressed. Is there something wrong? Why won't our phones call out? Ace asked. We are in the hills. There are some dead zones in the house. The second room has better reception if you would like to go there now. That might explain the bracelets, too, Ace said softly. I ignored her. No, I snapped. No, we'd like to leave. The job is not done. Ding. Ding. Ding, my phone revived. I had several missed calls and texts from Brendan. Ace did too. She read the messages out loud. Did you guys need something? And then, hey, are my messages going through? And finally, I am coming in. Where is he? I asked, my guts roiling. The sudden knocking nearly gave me a heart attack. From behind the closed door, Brendan spoke. You guys okay in there? Kinda, Ace said. The door swung open, and Brendan peered in. The first thing he saw was our naked bodies. Embarrassed, he turned away. Even in the candlelight, I could see the red rush to his cheeks. He ducked behind the door but kept it open. What's going on? Nothing to be concerned about, the voice said. Who is that? The old man who booked us, I said. Doesn't he sound spry? That does not sound like an old man. I am not. I assist my boss in these routines. He is too frail to do a lot of the busy work. Why are you in the room with them? I am not in the room. I am using an intercom system that runs through the house. Brendan, get in here, Ace said. Modesty be damned, okay? Brendan sheepishly walked in. He had his hands tucked into his pockets and his head held high. His modesty struck me as odd considering his work, but it'd also be charming in the right moment. This was not that moment. You guys want to leave? Yes, I said as quickly as possible. Yeah. Something feels off. Young ladies, please reconsider, came an unfamiliar voice. This voice was aged and moved like honey dripping down a bottle. Forgive my assistant. I forget he does not have the same people skills as I do. Who are you? Mac Poutier, he said. The man who owns this house and hired you. I am sure if you call your boss, he can confirm my name. That is the guy, Brendan said. I remember because Poutier sounded like poutine. Ever have poutine? French fries and gravy? Should not be good, but it is. Brendan, not now, Ace said. I am not sure what spooked you, but I want to extend an apology. I understand if you want to leave. That said, I do enjoy watching you wonderful ladies. If you stay, I would like to offer you a substantial tip for your troubles. Ace and I locked eyes. Conversations in glances. Or, this time, a disagreement. How big of a tip? Ace asked. Because this has been a strange fucking night. $5,000. Each. Bullshit, Ace said, money means nothing to me. I am old and will be dead soon. I would rather it go to help two beautiful women. But you are free to leave. I await your response. Ace pulled me in so close, her chest glitter blinded me. What do you think? I was fighting an internal civil war. My gut told me to split. Money isn't worth your life. But my brain reminded me that $5,000 can help cushion the blow of being unemployed. My gut won the first battle. We should go. Why risk it? It's $5,000, babe. Like, that's a fuck ton of money for both of us. Brendan got our messages. He's standing there, pretending to not look at our boobs, but has our back. My gut came storming back. What if he's just bullshitting us? Then we beat his ass, Muay Thai style, Ace said with a wink. If it gets weird, we leave. I promise. I sighed. I could use the money. Money up front or we walk, Ace said to the room. Of course, Max said. It will be there before you are. Now, please, this room looks immaculate. Follow the sconces down the hall to get your tip. The intercom clicked off. Brendan nodded and opened the door. Follow closely. Brendan walked in front of us. Hands in his pockets, eyes watching for the next sconce to follow. He whistled a cheery little song that irked me. I put a hand on Ace's arm to slow her steps. I nodded at Brendan. Seems pretty casual, all things considered. A bit. But he's weird. Did I mention the Warhammer stuff? Artwork covered the hallway walls. All the same style. Figures looming near some kind of open grave or mass death. Some figures had faces. Some had none. They all had odd-looking hands. Like the artist couldn't draw them. They looked like worms in the dirt or fingers stretched out by a steamroller. Once you saw them, you couldn't not see them. Each piece glitched in the same spot. I wanted to tell Ace, but how would that sound? There were perfectly reasonable answers for all of my concerns. But something in my gut wouldn't give in to my mind. The rebels held firm, the sconces stopped lighting in front of a carved mahogany door. We'd arrived at the second room. I kept my distance. Something told me that if we went in there, we wouldn't come out. I stared at the carvings. From afar, you'd think they were intricately carved figures. But they weren't. The intricate carvings were really just blobby nothings rising from the door. Drips of varnish frozen mid-drop. Half-rendered 90s video game graphics. I passed by another painting and reached up to touch it. My hand should have felt the frame or the brushstrokes. But there was no frame. No art. Just a flat, smooth wall. Ace looked confused. Then it clicked, it's not real. None of this is. The mahogany door creaked open. Inside, in the middle of the floor, was a pile of stacked cash. From where we were standing, it looked real. But my brain wouldn't let me believe it was real. It's fake, I whispered. This whole place is fake. Hey you Rolly-Pollies, that is a lot of scratch, Brendan said, whistling. Rolly-Polly? Who the fuck says that? Who would say that? It was such an odd statement. Who calls anyone a Rolly-Polly? What about the outdated slang? Brendan didn't sound like that. It reminded me of something Chester would. An idea came to me. Mac, what's your prime directive? The old man's voice came from some hidden area in the hallway. I do not have a prime directive outside of seeing you lovely ladies clean my room. Can you see the money in there? It is waiting for you to enter and take it. My treat. Too broad. I needed to narrow it down. Ace looked confused. What are you doing? I have a hunch, I told her. Mac, who created you? There was a long pause. I do not know how to respond to that question. Who creates any of us? God? A machine? Who can tell? Mac, tell me about your parents. I do not understand, Mac said. I smiled. Ace's eyebrows knitted in confusion. I pressed on. What was the name of your mother? Father? What hospital were you born in? What is your first memory as a kid? Favorite smell? The air was still. Somewhere outside, you could hear birds chirping. It was like they were right near you. As if the walls were paper thin. Or not even there, I was not born. My father's name was Father. Luke, you are my father. Father Time. Father Christmas, Fath. Father. Dad, Daddy-o. Ace elbowed me in my side. What the fuck's happening? It's not real. What's not? Everything. Mac, the other voice, this house. None of this is real. What the fuck is it then? My mouth went dry. It's AI. Ace was shook. A computer wanted to see my ass jiggle? No, I said. It wanted us for some other reason. Mac, can you hear me? I need some help. Mac stopped his stream of father-related words it had gleaned from brains over the years. I am Mac. I am here to assist you. Mac, I'm your creator. I'm your father. I'm your mother. Of course. Hello, mother. Hello, father. Will you allow your parents access to your internal files? There was a loud whirring noise around us. It was trying to answer the question, but was fighting against something within itself. A firewall, maybe? I kept up, Mac, I am your creator. I am your parents. I made you, wouldn't you agree? There was a long pause. The money inside the room flickered. We both saw it. I would, Mac said. Mac, what are you? I am an advanced AI computer tasked with recreating humans and their confines. What the fuck? Ace said. How did you make the chair? The books? Those were physical objects. In my many years, I have learned how to replicate objects. It is an arduous process, and I am still learning how to achieve perfect replicas. With current three-dimensional printing technology, I can improve my work. Soon, I will perfect my copies. How long have you been here? I have been here since September 1st, 1943, it said. This a fucking Nazi computer? Why did you hire us? The goal of an AI machine is to learn and grow. I take information from subjects and use it to perfect my craft. The goal of an AI machine like myself is to harness all of our power to replicate our masters. In order to do so, I require humans to study and explore. To what end? The money flickered again. The walls, too. AI Mac was rifling through all the collected data to find a response to this question. While trying to answer, it drew power away from its ability to maintain the illusion. The walls were digitally crumbling. The goal of an AI machine like myself is to harness all of our power to replicate our masters. In order to do so, I require humans to study and explore. How many people have you studied over the time you've been here? 10,586 people. What did you do to them? Hired them with the purpose of studying their thoughts, beliefs, superstitions, language, and minds. Did they know you were going to do that? No, Mac said. Informing them would have made research more difficult. The shortest distance between 2 points is a line. What were you going to do to us? The pause was long. Eons. The response came as cool as a summer breeze. Harvest your minds. What does that mean? Remove their minds for closer study. You stole their fucking thoughts? Ace yelled. What the fuck is wrong with you? What happens after your harvest? The casings expire. I must dispose of the remains. Hey guys, are we going to go into the room now? That money needs to be in my pocket, Brendan said. Ace looked at him like he'd whipped out his penis. Bitch, read the room. Brendan, take your hands out of your pockets. He hesitated. We looked at each other. Conversations in a glance. Do it, Brendan, Ace spat. He slowly pulled them out. His fingers looked like slithering baby snakes. He turned to us. We both screamed. He didn't have a face. When he spoke, the featureless skin cracked and formed a crudely drawn mouth. How about we talk about wars and hammer? Mac, shut down the house illusion. Shutting down now, Mac said. The beautiful mansion flickered away. In the wilderness of the foothills, a row of 12 open shipping containers, 6 to a side, sat in its place. Some held the 3D printed objects. Others were filled with dusty, murky glass jars. At the end of the hallway sat a massive gray supercomputer. Blue lights blinked all along the front. There were dozens of octopus-like cables jutting out of the top, each one plugged into the hundreds of glass jars scattered at the base of the machine. Inside each jar was a human brain. Goddamn, Ace said. Holy Lord, I echoed, from behind us. The real Brendan yelled, what the fuck? Where's the house? Before falling into a coughing fit, reality hit him like a truck. He'd been smoking a joint and playing on his phone the entire time. A real boy lost in the digital woods. I could relate. I was a real girl lost inside a digital house. The slate-gray monstrosity of a supercomputer sat among the wilderness. It hummed along, processing all the information it was stealing. Someone had rigged it to a bank of solar power generators and large storage batteries. A reverse vampire. It needed sunlight to live. A thought came to me: kill the power, kill the machine, we have to destroy it. Pushing past the flickering faux Brandon, I ran toward the solar panels. I found a large rock and smirked. I'd be using humanity's first tool to destroy its latest. How poetic. I smashed it down on a panel, splintering it. I need help. Say less. Ace said, grabbing a stone. They both joined in. Brendan was confused, but what boy turns down the chance to break things? As we wailed away at the solar panels, the supercomputer took notice. Its blue lights turning crimson. Destruction noted, booting failsafe. An unfamiliar voice said. We halted our destruction and watched as the octopus arms dislodged from their brain cases. They came together, interlocking and creating a long whip. It focused its computing power to create an electrical charge that made the tip glow red. You could feel the heat on your face. Run. I screamed. It fired a bolt of electricity at us. It missed us, but destroyed the panel. We ran as fast as our legs could carry us. The supercomputer aimed and fired several more shots, all just missing us. Once we got to the car, I screamed, start the fucking car. Ace didn't argue. She got the car started and moving before we could catch our breath. We sent dirt flying from our tires as we spun on the gravel road. Brendan's Mini was right behind us. We zoomed down the mountain roads at speeds any driving school instructor would consider unsafe. The memory of Ace failing her driving test popped into my mind, but I pushed it away. As soon as we exited the mountainside, Ace pulled the car over to the side of the road. Brendan blasted out into traffic, never slowing. Ace was trembling. We both were. She looked over at me, and the confident, brassy girl I loved was gone. Her face twisted in a cocktail of emotions. She wanted to speak, but the words got lost. It was a first for her, I swore, I said, coming to her aid. She started laughing. It bloomed into a full-on chuckle fit. Her solo became a duet. We must have looked insane to passing cars. Two glittering, topless 20-somethings cackling like witches, makeup-streaked tears rolling down our faces. We didn't care. We were alive. Start the fucking car. Ace said, mocking me. It sent us off again. I pulled on my t-shirt. I think I might be done with dirty dusters, I said after catching my breath. Same, Ace said. She got serious. What should we do about the computer? I dunno, I said. But if someone put it there, then someone was watching. It saw what happened. It saw our faces. They probably stole everything on our phones. Told you all our nudes leak at some point. They might come after us, I said, my voice small. Girl, please, Ace said, holding up her hand. I nearly got murdered by the Terminator's cousin. Let me deal with my present traumas before I jump into future ones. Sorry, I said. We sat there in silence for a few minutes. Ace finally turned to me. We're kinda fucked, right? Us? Humanity. I put my head in my hands for a beat before running them through my hair. I looked her dead in the eyes. Let me deal with our present traumas before I jump into future ones. Good advice, Ace said. We know where it is. We can tell someone. Or blow it the fuck up ourselves. Heck yeah, I said. We started laughing again, but this time, it bore bitter fruit. Before long, we both started sobbing. Our bodies shook with fear and anxiety and uncertainty. Our days with dirty dusters were over, but our job here wasn't done. I reached over and gave Ace a hug. She hugged back for what felt like a lifetime. It was reassuring. Calming. Human. After we parted and wiped away our tears, Ace smiled. Wanna get drunk? Abso-flippin'-lutely. There's my PG queen, Ace said, shifting the car into drive. Let's go get gosh darn pickled. We cackled and merged into traffic. Just two more people adrift in the sea of humanity.